artificial intelligence in the last decade. Its group was involved in developing an indigenous software which aims to strengthen the computational drug discovery or molecular property diagnostic should MPDS and thereby working towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Dr. Sastry was rewarded with Santi Swarup Bhattacharya Prize in Chemical Sciences in 2011, National Bioscience Award, PM Birla Award, Dr. B.T. Dale Memorial Award, and several other awards. So with this brief introduction, I'm inviting Dr. G. Narahari Sastry.
Thank you very much. There is a serious talk, there is a non-serious talk, and there is a talk by a person who was sometime back serious and currently non-serious, and now I don't know what I have to do. So this is a lot of fun. At the end of the day, it's nice to see people. Mostly young people are there, and those who are there, they are young. So I just wanted to give a title and talk about my journey. And I saw Prash and the group as young people in late 2005, 6, 7 when they started this bioinformatics club for experimenting scientists. And actually one of the experimenting scientists is Bhavya, Prash's elder daughter. And there are bioinformatics for school children that they have started. And it was a bit funny for me. And bioinformatics for newborn babies or LKG students, I don't know. So there are very funny thoughts that these Bioclues will bring in, but they have their own advantages. And bringing Indian bioinformaticians together is one of the objectives. And effective mentor-mentee relationships and conducting workshops, conferences, carving out a place for India in the bioinformatics space. And I think these are some of the broad things. And you don't have to be a professor to do bioinformatics. And if you are a high school student, that will not prevent you from doing bioinformatics. This is what I understand from this. And I was not believing it about 10 years before. Now I am completely convinced that you don't need to know anything. You can start a subject and powered by ChatGPT, generative, so many things are there. Fine. And thank you very much for making me a part of this. And I feel that Bioclues is a unique and purpose-driven. So happy to see that it's growing from strength to strength in the last 2 decades, and something was cut. Okay. Anyway, so sometimes force is very good, but crash force is sometimes very, very difficult to bear. They just go in such strong ways. And I must really thank Ganeshwar, Prash and all the team for maintaining this passion and enthusiasm and then working so passionately and so consistently over the last 2 years. And half of the credit should go to Renuka and all other friends who were with him. And I wanted all of you to give a big round of applause to Prash, because Bioclues is something synonymous with Prash, and he is a very different person. So things I could do it because whether I am serious or not serious, I am a tough taskmaster. Business is business. I take PhD students because they have to do the work. I will go and enjoy my life. So about 30 PhD students got PhD with me, and 15 are from chemistry and 15 are from biology. And my first 20 years of life, I did not have any biology student. I was trained as a theoretical chemist and went into computational chemist, and then did a little bit of computational biology and bioinformatics, mainly for the reason that there were lots of funds for bioinformatics, thanks to DBT at that time. And we were not getting any funds in chemistry. So I switched over to bioinformatics about 25 years before to teach bioinformatics and molecular modeling. That's how I have learned as an independent researcher. So these are all the groups, and this is a group in IICT, and then this is in Jorhat, this is a recent group in Hyderabad. An outline of a talk. continuing Raghava's thing about the need for indigenous software development, and I talk a little bit about molecular property diagnostics suite, and I don't know whether I will have time for this year Nobel Prize. I sort of cut it. My journey as a researcher in other works and reflection on the philosophy of choosing research as a career. And now I have to be very nice with this two Reverend Chase that I can speak for another 15-20 minutes, and Prof, you can stop me. You gave me 18 minutes. I don't know what it is. So there are computational modelers. When I started my PhD, people used to be after us to use their software. They give all their source code, and you write an inland letter to a person, and then big tapes used to come, and then we take it, and then compiling them used to take almost 2 to 3 to 4 years. Many times, if you want to compile, you have to learn the job control language and old machines that are there, and it was a complicated thing, and you will have to change lots of source code. Most of them are in Fortran, the object modules and linking the libraries, and all this used to take a lot of time. And then that was the days in which I have grown, because I started with quantum chemistry and electronic structure calculations, starting with Huckel calculations and ab initio and semi-empirical calculations. And there are people who are developing theory, and my wife is a theoretician, and she uses algebraic solutions. So what all she needs is, she needs paper and pencil, not even a computer. And they used to publish very good papers. And I need a computer, because we used to write the programs. And people used to develop methods, and then people are developing algorithms, programs, and softwares. And recent phenomena is application scientist. I consider myself as an application scientist for 30 years. That there is a program that is available, and then you use that program and get an output, and then you analyze that output. But the group is slowly becoming users, so much so that they get addicted to software packages in using user-friendly, elegantly developed software. They don't even know the source code. They don't know what is the method. Nothing is known. As garbage in and garbage out, there's a lot of garbage out. And there are sort of sophisticated methodologies are there. And if you don't know the limitations or strength of your output, you don't know how to effectively use it. So I think it's important to instill the mindset to write and develop the softwares for drug discovery or anything, or you have to have ideate, formulate, collaborate, develop, address. And country has to be so much grateful to people like Raghav, and we are also trying to develop some sort of a software in the last 10 years, but published very little papers with the software, because developing a database and web servers are easy, and developing softwares will take some time. But why do we develop software? Basically, you like to do that to get a PhD degree, or to have a good career, or you wanted to do a translational research that you develop a software and it will become a product or commercial thing will be there, and it will be very useful, and it is a sort of a purpose-driven program. But mostly, a bulk of the researchers who are doing that depending on the commercial software, and they don't have a clue, and they have to pay a lot of money to buy the software. And this is not a very good thing for academics. Overly depending on the commercial software in academic training leads to some undesirable long-term challenges, lack of availability of the software for economically deprived academicians, or people who are reluctant or averse to use commercial software, like me and Raghav. I think I can afford. About 20 years before, I bought lots of softwares. For the last 10 years, I am not buying any software, because I don't want to buy software. Too expensive to afford, and mostly it is black box, and often the methods and algorithms are not clear to the application scientists. And the basic problem is, when source code is not available, it is difficult to incorporate even small incremental changes or new ideas with the existing software. That's the problem. You need to make a very small change. And if source code is available, you can just add that and you can tweak it. But if it is not available, there's a problem, and many things are there. And there were many new things that are coming with AI/ML in drug discovery. Writing software is very easy. GitHub is there, and then there are different things are there. AI/ML is used from SNPs, ADMET, QSR, drug processing, personalized medicine, and there were different scales at which you can get the data, or you can subject the biology to first principles calculations based on classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, statistical mechanics, fluid mechanics, or finite element methods, or different levels of mathematical modeling techniques. And as you know that this AlphaFold, they got a Nobel Prize and people were laughing at it. And I don't have any respect for the structures that comes out of this AlphaFold just because they got a Nobel Prize. Because it's very good. But the thing is, they thought about unthinkable, something which is completely different. And when David Baker is very popular person, when he is looking at the this year chemistry Nobel Prize, half of them went to David Baker, and half of this went to this AlphaFold Hassavitz, another guy. And more importantly, the Nobel Prize in Physics. This is something very interesting. Both Hopfield and Hilton, that they made fundamental contributions, because there are some students who are saying J.J. Hopfield, who got the Nobel Prize in Physics, his father is a physicist and his mother is also a physicist. And Hopfield was an extremely good physicist, and he was in, I think he was in Princeton, and went to California, Caltech, to shift to chemistry and biology. There, after 30-40 years, in 1982, he's 91 years now. In 1982, he held this Hopfield network paper that he has published, and that is the classic paper. And after several years, he came back to Princeton and joined as a professor of molecular biology. So there are very interesting things, and I am very happy about this year's Nobel Prize. But I am also amazed to see that so many people are very unhappy about this year's Nobel Prize. They are very happy only about this microRNAs, because the RNA biology is becoming a big thing, and when 2006 the short siRNAs have come, that Nobel Prize, everybody is very happy about it. Last year, mRNAs, because siRNAs, there is a therapeutic potential, the double-stranded RNAs, there is a straightforward applications. Last year, Nobel Prize mRNA, there is a straightforward application, the vaccine is there. But this year, Nobel Prize, there is not a patent, no technology. There is not even at a TRL 3 or 4 level. So, we started as a chemist, you have a molecule, and is it possible to get the properties of these molecules, and then how do we synthesize molecules with desired properties? This is something that we have started, and a publication was made about 7 years before, which is a disease-specific web portal, and lots of Dr. Raghav is also one of the main course there, and we published this paper where we try to get all the public domain softwares for QSAR, docking, chemoinformatics, and mostly exploring the chemical space. This has been done, and I just wanted to say that there is a lot that we can learn from successful open source developments. One of the major problems that I had as a guide who produced more than 30 PhD students and several MPharms and MTechs, when they are so much vulnerable, they are dependent exclusively on the software, and they want to buy the software without which they cannot survive. This is not good. So we try to develop this software like molecular property diagnosis. This is a recent 2024 thing. I just wanted to summarize that the MPDS suite aims to facilitate transparent and open innovation. This approach significantly helps brings inclusiveness in the community while promoting free access and participation in the software development. If somebody is interested, they can do it, and we try to develop different models in the chemical space, the compound library and fragment library that we have done. I just wanted to tell you that this is something which is going on for the last 10-15 years, where we would like to develop an indigenous software which will be freely available to everybody. So I will, and one of the things is, as chemists, every molecule should have a space, and in our publication here, the classification of chemical space, this is the first time the molecules are classified as different substructures, and every molecule is given an Aadhaar card, an Aadhaar ID, which is known that, and they will have a class and a cluster. So you will have a chemical identity where the first page will give you the card for that molecule, and a bunch of 10 properties are given, and the second page contains information of various resources, and third and fourth page will give some specific information about that particular molecule, and this is still under progress and working on it. As you can see, we are trying to develop the software for a given disease. The idea is, if you, for COVID, you have a software which will bring all the informatics based QSAR, docking, pharmacophore, all other computer aided drug design based thing. And most of these modules will be either disease independent, or some of these are disease dependent. And we are now trying to develop this disease independent modules as well as the disease dependent modules, which is going on. And I will try to cut short this. And our group is also now focusing a lot on the protein-protein interactions, because protein-protein interaction is a very important thing, and we are now trying to ask different questions, and there are lots of modules which are based on the AI/ML. For example, in that COVID, we have a thing about machine learning for predicting the failures of the investigational drugs, or trying to look at the antiviral drugs. I just wanted to tell you that there are lots of things that one can do when you have students, and then we can try to do something which is of relevance, and when such a particular tool is available and lots of people will be using it. And I will tell you, 4-5 minutes I will try to wrap it. I was trained as a theoretical chemist, worked in various areas from method and model development in chemistry and biology. In Pondicherry University, I was there for 5 years trying to do theory, and that may be considered as second paradigm of science. If the experiment is first paradigm, theory is the second paradigm. And when I came to IICT for 17 years, I'm sorry for the spelling, I was doing mostly modeling, which has emerged as a third paradigm. And for 5 years I was in Jorhat, CSIR East. I was mostly doing AI/ML and data science. That may be considered as fourth paradigm. So when I moved to IIT Hyderabad about 8 months before, 9 months before, in the Department of Biotechnology, because I was, throughout my life, I was mostly doing chemistry, but for the last 10 years or 15 years, I was doing a lot of biology, trying to work in a interdisciplinary place created by the emergence of Industry 5.0. So I gave my name, the lab name, as Fifth Paradigm Lab, because as you see, I started it with second paradigm, went to third paradigm, fourth paradigm. Each time I change my position, the paradigms are changing. That's why I put my name as the Fifth Paradigm Lab, and we publish lots of papers in drug discovery, in inhibitor design, benchmarking, drug metabolism, molecular dynamics, virtual screening. And among them, this non-covalent interaction is something which is very much into chemistry and biology. And I think I will have to stop this. This is mostly, we started with aromaticity, buckyballs and pericyclic, which is mostly chemistry. And we are one of the first people to show that the cation-pi interactions are, although they are non-covalent interactions, they are probably very, very strong non-covalent interactions. And then look at the concept of cooperativity of non-covalent interactions. They are summarized in this reviews, and this is something in material science. And we have done a lot in the non-covalent interactions. So what I mean to say is, when there are people at different levels, and you may ask the same questions to reach a particular level. To go from one level to another level, you have to ask probably different questions. This is very nicely summarized by Marshall Goldsmith in this book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I feel that reading books is very important. And if you can read books, this book, oh, not this book. So this is something about, we have done this drug discovery hackathon from 13 July to 11 September, and lot of videos are there. If somebody is interested, they can download it. And there are in different verticals, vertical 1, vertical 2, vertical 3, and many of people here also, some of them have given lectures in that. And we have done some. I just wanted to tell you that we can do anything in life, but not everything. So it's always a question setting your priorities. As we have only one life, things that, what happened? things that we like to do, we will have to do. This is very, very important. So I wanted everybody to please refer to this very nice article in 1939 written by Abraham Flexner on the usefulness of useless knowledge. And this is a very, very interesting thing. At that time, the first page reads like this. Actually, he is the president of the advanced school in Princeton, and he was recruiting Einstein, Niels Bohr, and many others. He says that it's not curious fact that in a world steeped in irrational hatreds which threaten civilization itself, men and women, old and young, detach themselves wholly or partly from the angry current of daily life to devote themselves to the cultivation of beauty, the extension of knowledge, to the cure of disease. I think this has gone to the. Actually, when there is a Second World War, still there are a lot of people who are doing beautiful science. Those who are doing beautiful science is also in the Manhattan, and this is actually reflected by Helmut Schwartz, who was two times president of the Humboldt Foundation. He also talks about the usefulness of useless knowledge. 3 minutes. Actually, about 100 years before, people thought that quantum mechanics is a useless science. What is the use? But now, the 20% of world GDP is depending on the applications of quantum mechanics. When electricity was discovered, Michael Faraday was asked the question, what is the use of it? Now we know what is the use. And myself, when we were young, all these rockets used to go from Sriharikota and come down. Now we know the space research, how profitable it is. So we will have to just do that. The enthusiasm of young people is the most secure currency here. Fundamental research is critical to the advancement of society. Such research is promoted by generously supporting talented individuals to undertake ambitious work. This is very important. Individuals need space, freedom, and trust to be able to develop to their full potential. Only then will they have courage to take risks. And this is very much reflected in this year's Nobel Prize. And I just wanted to say that there is also a very nice article, The Importance of Stupidity in Scientific Research. So, the productive stupidity means being ignorant by choice. Focusing on important questions puts us in awkward position of being ignorant. What he says is, you just do the same thing again and again, and people will laugh at you. Okay, let them laugh at. People will say you don't even know that. That's fine. But productive stupidity means this is a very, very important thing. And if you have time, if you are a scientist, this is the book which is to be read by people. But it's a very difficult thing. It's about a 1,000-page book, The Making of an Atomic Bomb. And actually, this particular book by this thing is really give you a different experience for your life. It took me 2 years to read it, 2 months to read, or not 2 months, it's almost 6 months to read. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's a wonderful journey. Only one question, because shortage of time.
Only one, only one.
It's great revelation for me. Those of that. I used to sit in scientific sessions, okay? Scientists speaking, presenting their work. After that, listening to them, I want to ask, sir, I will be in touch with you, please share something. The response, something, comes out, they don't want to reveal. In the scientific field, that is the story. But bioinformatics, first time I'm listening, it's open source, open. I am here, I've sat here, you download. I am going to circulate the total presentation. Fantastic, sir. It's a great revelation for me. One problem which I face as genomics person is in terms of functional validation of variants. All the variants that are in CLINAB based on lot of work in terms of European countries. Genomics for clinical patients is plenty. So their risk scores, poisoning risk scores, which they, based on their data set, it can't apply in Indian situations. I do find lot of variants which are not reported, and my bioinformatics firm, they give me unidentified significance. He found a variant, it is very frequency wise, it is very less variant, but he is unable to say what is the function of this. So he says UIS, unidentified significance.
Sir, we are running out of time.
My last question. Sir, your app, for patient data, deceased patients, which you created, that's for clinician to act upon it. That is, who is the ultimate, who is going to use it. Second thing I would like to request you is that bioinformatics, taking into proteomics, transcriptomics, whatever data across evolutionary species, if a variant you are able
we will discuss.
if you can give us, that is going to,
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Actually, we just have to take these things in. When the human genome came, people thought that problems will be solved. But the complexity, biology is so fuzzy and complex, and many things have come. And we have coding regions, SNPs and ORFs. But people are now finding out many things which are non-coding regions and gencomics and things like that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
We'll discuss over dinner. You can always ask me. Okay.
I would like to thank all the kind speakers for sharing their expertise with all of us and for answering our curiosities. And now I would like to invite Professor S.C. Lakhotia, Professor Emeritus at Department of Zoology, Banaras Hindu University, and Professor Gyaneshwar Chaubey. He is the President of EdNet Society and convener of this conference, and also Dr. Krishna Mohan, the advisor of Bioclues, for felicitating all of our speakers with memento. First, I would like to invite Professor Lohia and Mrs. Lohia. Next, I would like to invite Professor Sastry and Mrs. Sastry, if she is still here. Next, I would like to invite Professor GPS Ramos. Thank you so much, Professor Lakhotia, Professor Chaube, and Dr. Krishna Mohan. And now I would again hand over the mic to our session chairs for the next talk. Thank you.
We are happy to introduce the young buddy, Dr. Rajaguru Aradhya, Professor in School of Biotechnology in Amsterdam. And he held PhD from Evergreen University, France. He worked in many places. He finished his postdoc at Rockefeller University, New York, and he contributed to microRNA control of peripheral nervous system development in Profilia melanstad. He worked in many places and is a flying biologist. And happy to say I'm also staying with him to discuss and know something which I don't know in my life. So we now welcome Dr. Guru to address his talk.
Hello, check one.